Hi, I'm Doug Oldred, and welcome to Doug Has Questions. This podcast I've started. A little background on myself. I grew up in a small town in Alaska, Haines, population about 2,500 people. My parents were former school teachers, and my mom especially instilled in me a love of reading at a young age. And that allowed me to explore a lot of different universes and times in history and different people through the pages of a book. And through the store that my dad started, and then also my mom, I got to meet people from all over the country, all over the world, actually. And it was really cool hearing their stories and getting to know different parts of the world through firsthand experiences. And one of the humbling parts of starting this is the number of people that, when I mentioned the idea and asked them if they'd be willing to be a guest, they immediately said yes. And with nothing for them to look at, nothing for them to judge. The faith they put in me to sit down and share their stories and allow us to record this and share this with you means a lot to me. As I've gotten older, those connections mean even more to me than they did when I was younger. And through the different things that I've done in my life, I've been able to meet people, some really amazing people. And while everybody thinks in a small town, there's kind of this idea that you know everything about your neighbors. There's a lot that people don't know about our neighbors. And I thought this podcast would be a cool way for me to get to know some people better, share that with not only Community Haines, but whoever else wants to watch this. And also move outside the bubble of social media where we all get siloed onto our likes. And maybe you'll find somebody in here that you might not agree with politically, or you might not like what they do for work, but you'll find some interesting tidbits and maybe some similarities in their stories to yours. And so I look forward to sharing these stories um, with people from many different backgrounds, and I hope you enjoy them as well. From when I first started this, or this idea first came to me, it's been several months in the process, and I have to give credit. There's a lot of people out there that gave me some encouragement and help along the way. First and foremost, Marley, Sam, Chris, Marty with all the technical spot. If those guys hadn't helped me out with this would still be an idea floating around in the back of my mind. And the number of people that I've talked to this about and just gave me support and asked when this was finally going to air. It's taken us a while. We've been filming episodes for a few months now, off and on, and I think we have enough that we can go live, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's feedback. So first episode's coming up next with our friend Duck Hess, founder of Chilkat River Adventures. I hope you enjoy his story and all the ones to come. Thanks again for tuning in. This is another episode of Doug Has Questions. If you enjoy the conversation you're listening to today, please like it, share it with your friends, subscribe, anything that help us share with us with other like-minded people. If you have any ideas on, or if you would like to help sponsor this program in any way, please send an email to douglas@doughasquestions.com. We'd love to have that conversation with you. And you can find this on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So please share this with your friends if you're enjoying the conversation. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to this episode of Doug Has Questions. My guest today is Duck Hess, longtime Haines resident and entrepreneur on many different things. Right now he has Duck's Dynasty Tour of Haines, where you get a one-on-one tour of Haines, and many other businesses over the years that we'll get into as we start talking. But welcome to the show, Duck.
Thank you.
So first off, let's start about where you grew up. You're from Oregon originally, correct?
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you how I got to Alaska?
Well, let's start what your life was like in Oregon. What were you doing down there as a kid?
Well, I was a kid there in a little logging town, and we had moved many times because my dad was a logger, and he always thought the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. So we moved a lot. But the little town that we end up staying in is called Powers. And I went to junior high and high school there. Graduated in 1958. And then, before that though, I got to go back. My dad always wanted to come to Alaska. and he was going to be 50 years old the 2nd of April. And he kept going on about, I gotta go to Alaska. If I get to be 50, I'm gonna be too old. And he finally talked my mom into selling. They had a little country store and a gas pump, and he was logging, worked for another guy, and ended up selling everything and moving me to Ketchikan. The 3rd of March, we got to Ketchikan, 1957.
So your first stop in Alaska was Ketchikan. Your dad was logging out of Ketchikan then?
Yeah, he worked at a logging camp, and I didn't go to school. I got a job working at a Wingren's grocery store, stocking shelves. I was 16.
Okay.
And Dad was at camp, and Mom got a job, secretary or something like that. And my mother got a job with the state troopers, territorial troopers.
Territorial troopers, yeah.
Yeah, in
Before
Juneau,
statehood.
and she left, and I got a job on a fishing boat and a seiner, and I fished that summer, and believe it or not, did very well for a young fella. I made $840.
For the summer?
Yeah. Heck, I had a big buck kid. But I thought I was going to have to go to school in Juneau. And fishing season was over. And I went to Juneau, and my mom said, well, I've got a surprise for you. Your football coach wrote a letter to the Oregon State Athletic Board to get you eligible. So we've got somebody for you to stay with. So I got to go back to Oregon and finish my senior year and play football. We went undefeated for the season, played for the state championship Oregon, and got our rear ends handed to us in a basket, 42-0.
Ouch.
It still bothers me.
That bothered me too. What position did you play?
I was left halfback, running back,
yeah.
and I went offense and defense. I played left defensive linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So linebacker and running back.
Yeah.
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 But 42-0, it still stings.
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
So after graduation, what was the next step for you?
Sitka. See, I told
So
you.
back
folks
up
moved
to
around,
Alaska,
back to Alaska.
yeah.
Mom and Dad had moved to Sitka, and Dad was running a job clearing the timber for the dam for the pulp mill. That
Okay.
was going to be built there. And I worked in the Columbia lumber mill on the green chain, and then in October of '58, I joined the Air Force.
So you're 17 and you're working on the green chain at the pulp mill?
No, it's a Columbia lumber.
Oh,
It
at the
was
lumber yard.
a mill.
Okay. Mill.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And then I went into the Air Force. They flew me to Anchorage, inducted me, and I was there about 2 weeks, and they flew me to McCord Air Force Base
Yeah.
in Tacoma, Washington, and put me on a train down to Lackland Air Force Base. I went basic training in San Antonio, Texas.
So in the part of about a year and a half, you went from Oregon to a couple different places in Alaska, back down to Oregon, back up to Alaska, to Anchorage, to Tacoma, to Texas.
Yeah.
You're getting around.
Oh, yeah, I got around all right.
Where'd the Air Force send you next?
To Fairchild
Okay.
Air Force Base in Spokane, Washington. And I was in 92nd OMS, and I wanted to be tail gunner in the B-36.
Okay.
because my cousin, my dad's cousin, my second cousin, had been a tail gunner in the Second World War, and I wanted to be like Gene. But I got to Fairchild, and they phased out to B-36, and the B-52s came in.
Yeah.
Radar,
Yeah.
tail gun. So
No need for a tail gunner.
yeah, the no tail gun.
No
for
tail
me.
gunner. Job's obsolete.
Yes. Well, I ended up administratively.
Okay.
And then I ended up, they put me into intelligence.
Okay.
And I was intelligence all through my time in the service.
Did they send you overseas at all?
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you go overseas?
Well, I was originally Itazuki Air Force Base,
Okay.
Fukuoka, Japan. But I wasn't there very long, and they sent me to Osan, Korea. And I was there for 13 months, and then they sent me back to the States, and I had 8 months left to do, and they shipped me to Eglin Air Force Base out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got discharged back to Alaska.
Back to Alaska.
Yeah.
Back to Southeast again?
And Sitka. Yeah. My dad had started a logging company. Naquasina Logging Company was the name of it. And he took us 4 boys in as partners.
Okay.
And we had a floating camp, and it was an experience, I'll tell you. Yeah, we all worked there. We were cataloging, skidding, and we did that for a while, and then we got into what they call high lead logging, and we did that. I lasted about 2 years, and I was the youngest of the 4 boys. And my oldest brother, he had left, and I ended up at 2 years, and I'd had enough. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So then I ended up, went on a seiner down to Seattle after I'd left, and couldn't find a job in Seattle. So then I flew back to Alaska, to Sitka.
Yeah.
Yeah, worked with my family for a while. And then I went down to Oregon. I spent about 6 months down there. And then, the bear got Dad up here in Haines.
Yeah, so tell us the story about your dad being attacked by a bear. How did that unfold?
Well, he had gotten a call from Cliff and Hank Reeves, who were building the mill out at Jones Point. And he had a reputation for getting a lot of logs out. Well, they called him and asked him, would he like to come to Haines and look at a timber sale? So he did, and he got here, and his good friend George Clausen came with him, and they went up to Mosquito Lake. It was up on the mountain, and he told George, well, he said, come back in about 5 hours and pick me up. So he had his rifle and his map, and he went up on the mountain, and he got up there, and he was counting trees. And when you cruise a timber sale, you count the trees in an acre, and it gives you an idea of the volume. He was counting the trees, and he caught the movement out of his eye, and a big brown bear had been laying up on this knoll above him, and he thinks that the click, click, click of this...
the little tally counter.
Yeah.
Okay.
He thinks that's what, it come out, and it caught Dad's movement, and Dad said it turned in mid-stride. came down off the knoll after him, and Dad turned around and grabbed his rifle and turned around. The bear had him. He didn't get a shot. Knocked him down and bit him in the back of the head first, then bit him in the face, and then it had him down with its left forepaw in his chest. And he was biting him on the neck and shoulder, broke his collarbone, his clavicle, and dislocated the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And Dad was 6'1", 210 pounds. The bear had him by his left thigh and had his rear end up off of the ground, shaking him like a dog would a rabbit and bellowing all the time. And then the next thing Dad knew, he was standing up. And the bear was about 10 feet away from him. And the bear looked back, and he thought, my God, he's coming back. So he found his rifle and turned around. The bear was going away from him, and he rattled a shot off just to keep it going. Uh-huh. And then he had a heck of a time because he was getting to where he couldn't see. His left eye was gone, and the bear had scalped him, and the scalp was hanging in the right eye and bleeding bad. And so he managed to get his sweatshirt off. Doctors don't know how he did it with that torn up shoulder. Got his sweatshirt off and got his scalp up back on his head, got the blood out of his right eye, and then tied the sweatshirt around his head. Well, then he's got to get off the mountain. So he goes out the edge of the mountain, and in Alaska, 3 shots in fast cessation is...
it's your SOS.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Yep. And he thought, who in the heck's going to hear me up there? No houses up there in that day. So anyway, I got to get off this mountain, headed down off the mountain, got down on the valley floor, and he just lost a lot of blood. And he laid down, and he said, I lay there and I thought, if I lay here and die, what's Mom going to do? He always called my mother Mom. Uh-huh. And he made himself get up. He went on out the valley, out to the highway, and was walking towards town, staggering, but he still had his rifle. And I don't know if you remember Mrs. Lindquist or not that lived here.
I don't,
yeah.
No.
Well, she was going around and she'd been 33 miles. And she was going to go around him, and then she seen all the blood, so then she stopped. And he got in the back seat and said, don't look at me, get me to town. Well, thank God Mrs. Lindquist, being a longtime resident, knew that Cluckwan, the school, had a phone.
Okay.
So she pulled down into the school and ran in and told the teacher, call Doc Jones and tell him I'm bringing in a bear mauling victim.
Yeah.
And she ran back out in the car. The teacher got right on the phone, called Doc Jones' office. Jones said to the nurse, get a plane, get seats out of it, and get a stretcher. And he jumped in his car, headed up the highway, and ran into Miss Lindquist at 10 Mile. Then she pulled off, and he got out, jumped in the car back seat with Dad. And they got the airport, they had a plane, they had the seats out, and a stretcher. And I think it might have been old Johnny Fox.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they got him into the plane, flew him to Juneau, took him to Bartlett, and 5.5 hours of surgery and over 900 stitches.
Wow.
Yeah. He lived 22 years after
22 years after that.
Yeah, he was 58.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did that happening to your dad, how did that affect you, if at all? Do you ever think about that? Because you can't, obviously you moved back up here after that, right?
Yeah, I was in Oregon.
Yep.
And I got the call from Mom, and I went to the hospital, and because my dad was always this big tough guy, and he's laying there, and he's all bandaged up. His head was swollen, and the nurse made me sit down, put my head between my legs because I got a little dizzy seeing Dad like that. Well, then my brother Gary and I flew over. We actually, because Dad wouldn't take his dog that was real bear smart, and we took Thor, was his name, and we went up, and George took us up there, and we went up on the mountain, and we were looking, trying to find where the bear got Dad, and Thor, we stopped, a couple of guys had cigarettes, and I hollered at Thor, "Come on, we gotta go," and he wouldn't come. So I went over, and I found where the bear got Dad, found his hat, found his clicker, and his map.
So that's what Thor was at, was where your dad's stuff was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that bear, you could see where he must have been swatting at Dad when he had him down, because like by the spruce tree and the root, there was the moss was torn up and the claw marks on it. And then we found where he went down off of the mountain, found where he laid down. There was a pool of blood like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your dad probably ended up killing the bear.
If he could have, he would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he went out the next year. Ron Martin was home from Vietnam.
Okay.
He took Dad across in 10 Mile, him and my brother Gary.
Yeah.
And my dad shot both the moose. Yeah. True story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within a year after he was attacked by a bear, he was out hunting moose.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he ever talk about any anxiety about going back out into the woods or doing anything like that?
No, he went back, and he took the contract. And he went back up on the mountain and he worked just like he always did. Yeah.
'Cause I just thinking about that and how we would react to being out in the woods and having a traumatic injury or traumatic experience like that.
Yeah.
And they always say just get back on the horse is the best way to get through it. But
yeah.
I would still think there'd just kind of, for a while, there'd just be a lingering looking over the shoulder or being a little more careful where you're going and heightened awareness. I don't know what it would be, but
yeah,
that's quite the experience to live through.
He was just a tough man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had a job and had to do it, and he was going to get it done.
So did you stay, after that, did you stay in Haines then?
I flew back down to Oregon, and I brought a couple of logging trucks up from Coos Bay, Oregon.
Okay.
And brought them up over the highway to haul logs for him.
Oh.
Yeah,
so
my brother.
They got the contract and got the.
Yeah, and my brother, he actually started actually putting in the road to get in to log the timber. Mm-hmm. And then Dad, within 3 months, Dad was up kind of running things. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Tough man. So you came up and were logging, running log trucks and that.
Yeah.
And then what was the next step for you after that?
Well, I hauled logs for him for a couple of years. And then I went out on my own, and I had a little rubber-tired skidder, and I logged a few little sails and whatnot. I did that till Oh, God. I always thought, well, if I have a bar, I'm going to make it.
You ended up having two different ones, didn't you?
Yeah.
You made it twice.
Yeah. Well, I bought the equipment and the inventory from Bobville, the Alaska bar.
Yep.
And I had that a few years, and I wanted to get my own building, and Bob wanted way too much for it. Well, then the hardware store, which is right next to here, it come up for sale, and I bought it. Then I hired Tom Dale and Jim Pryor, and they've come in and remodeled it and made it the bar it is.
Fog cutter now.
Yeah, it's a fog cutter now. Yeah, and then this building we're in right now,
Yeah, rusty
I bought
compass.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my ex-wife had a clothing store here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
So was the bar business not the cash cow that you thought it was going to be?
no, you know, you work all summer,
Yep.
so you can stay open all winter. I'd work 6-7 shifts a week in the winter time, because it just, you know, wasn't, and they're still going through that now, the bars here in the winter. Don't get to business.
Kind of the Haines economy aspect of that,
Yeah.
isn't it? You got the
Yeah.
boom in the summertime and the lull in the wintertime, and
Yeah. Well, I ended up, you know, I got divorced and got out of the bar and this. And my mom and dad were down in Oregon. And in 1984, I went down to see mom and dad, and they were going over on the Rogue River for the weekend. And so we went over in their motorhome, and I run into Karen. I was divorced, single, been single about 3 years. And I run into Karen, and her family, I'd known them for years because we all come from that little logging town of Powers. And we started going out, and 4 months later, I was married, and a few months later, we were on our way back to Alaska, and we got here, and I worked over in Skagway. They were putting in the road, you know, and paving it and everything, and worked there, and then I ended up having to go to logging camp, and then I went to work at the ferry terminal, and I worked there for a couple of years, and then I always had this idea of a river tour, because I loved that river. And I had bought a boat down out of the Rogue River, Gold Beach, Oregon, but the guy, old Lex Fromm, he had run the mail route, and I bought one of his boats. I pulled it up over the Alaska Highway, and I ran that in 72 and 73, and was way ahead of myself. So then when I got rid of the boat, when Karen and I got together in 84, I was telling her about the river and how it was. And so she said, well, if you want to try it. So we bought a boat, a 14-passenger van, went up off of Wells Bridge up there in Hank Jocko, and had a little dock, and started in 1991.
so 1991 was the first year of River Adventures.
Yeah. Did 150 people was all.
Yeah.
Karen said, we have to sell this. And I said, oh, no. So I went to North Slope to work. So in 1992, we did 250 people. And Karen says, we got to sell this boat and that van. Oh, no, Mother. So then in 93, I met this Spike, I can't remember his last name right now. He was Storax, Royal Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him, and we become kind of friends. And I said, well, come on up on the river. Let me show you what we do. So he got some of his staff. We went up, took him on the river, and he said, my God, you have got to get on with us next summer. So he wrote a letter to Ellen Lynch, who was the head of shore excursions in Florida for Royal Caribbean. She wrote a nice letter to us, said, if you can give me 50 seats, we'll use you.
Yep.
So we did a business plan, got an SBA loan, and built 2 more boats. And that was 94. Royal Caribbean started with us, and we did 1,850 people. And Karen, oh, this is a little better.
She was going to let you keep the boats after 1850?
Yeah. Well, then it just kept building, and I built 2 more boats, and the year 2000, that's when we had 5 ships coming to Haines. We did 13,500.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't hear no more about selling the
boats. So in 9 years, you went from 150 to 13,000 passengers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we ran it, for 31 years. COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that really hurt everybody. And then 2020, we had no income. 2021, the cruise ships, 4 of them started the end of July. Mm-hmm. Well, we went ahead and paid for the insurance and everything because we wanted, to be in good faith. It cost a fortune. Yeah. We didn't make any money. So in 2022, Sean Gaffney and Eli, they approached us about selling. Well, with our age and whatnot, and COVID, and we decided,
it was time to move on.
Yeah.
So part of that, though, with River Adventures in that growth, I remember during that there's segment of the community that was not happy with you, and you guys went through the ringer there for several years about potential damage to salmon habitat and things like that. You ended up coming out. I mean, you're still doing the tour and everything.
Yeah.
How do you think that affected your business with just that not just the business, but also you and Karen, you're trying to manage the business and you're dealing with all this other stuff outside of the business.
Yeah. It cost us a lot of money for lawyers, but Lynn Canal Conservation didn't know who they were dealing with. A couple of Powers kids that were stubborn, and we knew we were right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they cost us a lot of money. They had that jet boat wake study. Mm-hmm. They brought that professor from, I think, Wisconsin. And I think it was like $300,000 and some study. And he proved that a big jet boat makes a bigger wake than a small jet boat.
Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
$300,000.
Yeah.
I could have told him that for $150.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just unreal. They wouldn't listen, And I got all the years on that river, I got a lot of knowledge. And they didn't come talk to me. They just, the normal deal, the lawyer, and we'd have to go to Juneau and yeah.
How many years was that you fought that?
Oh, must have been 5-6 years.
5-6 years that you were fighting that.
Yeah.
And then in the end, you're able to continue doing your business the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talking about your boats, was that a custom design? You said the original one was off the Rogue River. What made that boat special for the
Well,
run
that
of the
was
tour?
an inboard jet.
Yep.
Okay, so an inboard jet really pulls down too much on your stern when you get going, and they tend to want to suck sand and gravel, whereas a flat bottom, wide, long boat with two outboards on the back and all your weight from 20% from the stern on up to 20% from the bow, you're like that, flat. And when you take off, they don't suck up a lot of sand because you're up flat and your stern's not down.
So you're not hunching down.
Yeah. And then I went and tried a tunnel. I had the Taquin, which is a 20-footer. I had twin 90s on it. I had a tunnel put in it. Nobody had ever done that before.
I was going to ask you that as we start talking about boats, because now everybody has a tunnel pretty much in their jet boat.
Yeah.
And that was, you showed them how it was done.
Yeah, and I had a skid plate, and I had taken that off with when I had the tunnels built, and I thought I wouldn't need them. Well, I did. So we put them back on, and my God, they worked great.
Yeah.
So then we took we had two 32-footers, and we put twin tunnels in them. We had 30-footer twin tunnels in that, and a 24-footer, we put twin tunnels. And they go in like, they'll carry water. You go in 5 inches of water for, like 100 feet before you'd like run out of water.
Run out of water on it.
Yeah.
So what's it like training somebody to run the river? Because that thing is always changing.
Yeah.
From day to day. I know talking to you in the past, there's times you'll come to the store, river's down 12 inches today or whatever. It's like, holy cow, how do you manage your tours and train your drivers to navigate that?
And some people never get it, And I gotta say, I had Karen. She run boat a couple of summers, and she did good. Then when I got the big boats, and then we were getting so busy, she had to be in the office. I had Sierra. She was great. Amy Gross.
Yep.
I made both those girls. I made dock manager. They never got in trouble. They multitask. Well, then guys, they tend to have this macho stuff. They don't want to listen.
Yeah.
But the girls, they would listen. And Segra, another girl, ran a boat, and another girl was Stacy. Now, River Adventures has 2 gals up there. A gal that I brought up from Arizona to drive bus for me, and Samantha, but she likes to be called Sam, and Megan that ran Chilkat Guys. They're both up there running them boats.
Running the boats now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had guys that just never got it. They just can't figure out that the water where it's shallow and,
I struggle with that. John Kasich trying to teach me how to drive a boat, and I don't know if it's because my eyes are color deficient. Because he's like, look at this color, and I always struggle with that. I'd hit the same thing going up the river, and I'd hit it coming back.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, what the heck are you doing? It's in the same spot it was on the way up, and So that's why I was trying to ride with somebody else. It's much easier.
Yeah, like to say, I had one guy get hung up one time. And it cost me a lot of money. I'm not going to say his name, but when I got the call and I headed out with the workboat, and I had a power saw winch, and you know, I'd tail hold to a tree, and that's how I'd pull them off a sandbar, gravel bar. And it was clear up by the cabins, by the assignation. He was looking for moose, shouldn't even been there, and got hung up, had a full boatload. And by the time I got there, of course, the fast ferry, they had to leave.
They had to leave.
So I got up there and I got him off and headed downriver. Well, I had to get the power saw winch, get it unhooked, and all the gear and back in the workboat. And me and my bus driver took off, followed him down, and I could smell an engine overheating. Well, what he had done, when you get a lot of sand in, you can take a cap off of your water pump, the filter.
Yep.
Well, you take that off, and it'll blow it out, but you better put the cap back on.
He didn't put the cap back on.
He didn't put the cap on. He doesn't know it to this day, but we had to, two of the people, I flew a bunch on Skagway, and two of them were real big, overweight people, and they couldn't get in the plane. So I had to charter a plane, Drake.
You had to charter a plane for two people to get them to Skagway.
Yeah, well, what we did, because the lady was like, oh, it was our anniversary and we were going to Glacier Bay and now we're going to miss our boat. And so we said, okay, we're going to fly you over Glacier Bay. So we chartered, flew him over Glacier Bay, flew him to Juneau. The guy needed some meds. We paid for that, paid for a room, and then flew him first class to Ketchikan to catch
the boat.
Cost us $3,500.
Holy.
Just that guy being not where he should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably the worst that we ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So outside of business and the different businesses you've developed in Haines and worked on, because now you have Duck's Dynasty Tour, right?
Yeah.
Where you take people around, you give them your firsthand knowledge of all your years of experience in Haines.
Yeah.
This is the first year for that. How's that going so far?
It's about like we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had here just the other day, I had a guy, a veteran, and him and his wife, well, it was what Karen got this all set up. The guy said, well, I have a hard time getting in that bus. His right leg's gone above the knee. And Karen, and I said, well, honey, just tell him I'll take him in my pickup. Yeah. Just two people.
Uh-huh.
And Karen, she talked to him and said, well, Kurt was his name. What do you think about going in Duck's pickup? Oh, I got a pickup. I can get in and out of a pickup. So it was so great. I picked him up in my pickup, and I took him, and I wanted to show him a bear big time, but we had a great time, and God, he wrote a absolute great review on Yelp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. And then I had the tour right after him, and God, I got going out Chilkat. There was a bear on the beach, and eagles.
Yeah.
They never got
just what everybody's looking for.
They got few eagles, but yeah. But you never know,
You never know.
Tour, yeah.
Nope.
But it's fun. I love it. We're doing it because Karen and I, what are we gonna do?
But the part of that too, Duck, is you have a lot to share with people. as well. I mean, you know the area, you've done a lot of different things here. And so I think being willing to share those stories and those experiences, that's what a lot of people are coming here for.
Yeah.
They want to know that history. They want to have that personal experience, not just somebody that's up here out of college that's telling them something, and they could be from Ohio.
Yeah.
Nothing against people from Ohio or just working for the summer, but the tourists that I interact with, they appreciate the ones that are here and have those decades of experience that are telling them.
Yeah.
It's not a story they heard, it's the actual, they've lived it.
Yeah, and that's the part of it I like, the sharing with them. You know, like the 5 guys about the fort, they were all still alive here when I came here 60 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So I enjoy it, you know.
So you'd mentioned a name earlier that Ron Martin was here and was took your dad out moose hunting, and we lost Ron last fall, but I know you and him were running buddies for a long time. Long time.
Yeah.
And I know Ron had a lot of stories. I have some stories of time spent with Ron that were just amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite memories of things that you can share in a podcast? I think the statute of limitations is probably over on most of them.
Well, you know, we did a lot of hunting together. God bless his soul. Snowmobiling together, into the lake and ice fishing, and he'd go into my moose camp up there in the upper Natega, and we did a lot of things, and you know, like at his service, I told a little short story about him and I on this little J3 flew up the upper Natega, where my moose camp was, and we were coming back down, and I said to seat behind him, I said, if this engine dies, how far can we glide? And he says, well, let's see. He just reached up and turned the engine off, and I'm like, and he turned it back on, and thank God it started, but yeah. And another time in the Wilga.
Yeah.
Do you remember
I
that?
remember his Wilga.
Yeah, well, we were on the Wilga, and we flew up the Taquin, came over into the La Blonde Glacier and down to Cirque, and we'd been out, had a few the night before, and I told him, I said, Martin, I have got to go to the bathroom. Oh, he said, so do I. So we come down, we land on the highway at 25 mile. And we taxi in, you know, where the gravel is.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people in there. It's wintertime. And a bunch of people in there putting on their cross-country skis. And we stopped the plane, never shut it off. Jumped out of the plane, and both of us relieved ourselves. Back into the plane, back out on the highway, and took off. And they're like, and I have one more story. I love telling this one. We were flying into J3, and we were up on Jocko allotments. And down by the river was the cow moose dead, and 2 wolverine feeding on her. Mm-hmm. He got all excited. Oh, we got to get back. And our snowmobiles were there 25 mile. So we get the plane, land at 25 mile, get on the snowmobiles, up the highway to Mosquito Lake Road, up Mosquito Lake, onto the Kelsaw Road, up to what I used to call Dry Lake, up the river, and we got right across the river from them 2 wolverine. They were still there. Mm-hmm. You know, Martin, he had his 22-250. He got down, got a rest, pop, that one down. The other started running. He tried a shot, but missed it. We're across the river we go, and we get there. That wolverine had died so fast, its teeth were still embedded in the meat.
In the moose?
Yeah.
Holy.
So I got pictures of it tied across the hood of my snowmobile.
Yeah.
Well, he had it mounted.
Is that the one you have at your house now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I remember after his service, I was talking to Daniel, and Daniel's like, hey, there's some of the animals we got at the house if you want to have those in the store. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can take some of them. The Wolverine was one of them. And then you came in, you're like, wait a second, I recognize that Wolverine.
Yeah.
It was like, have at her,
Well,
Duck.
Daniel said he wanted me to have it, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember flying with Ron. One year we went in the talking. It was Larry and John and I were up in the Tagga Creek right below you guys.
Yeah.
Looking for moose, but opening day, and it was just foggy to all get out. I don't remember if you remember that year, but we were up there for 3 days or so, just fogged down to the ground. Like, all right, we're out of here.
Yeah.
And we get back to town, and Ron's like, well, how come you guys stayed up there so long? We're like, well, we figured somebody would let us know if there's... And so a few days after that, flew into Taquine because there's a bull over there. We spent the night, shot the moose the next day, flew out, just landed on this tiny gravel bar in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the next year or the year after that. There was another bull out there. He said, hey, we're going to go out and shoot it. We want you to come with. And I said, I was on the borough assembly at the time, so I got an assembly meeting, I can't go. He said, okay, we're going to go, we're going to shoot it, and we'll come get you on the first load so you can help us pack it in the morning. Perfect. So it was Ron, I think it was John, and Larry Katzik were all in there. The next morning, I don't hear anything. Finally, John's wife, Cheryl, comes by the store and said, Doug, finally heard from radio with him. The brakes went out on the plane when he landed with Larry, the last flight in. His Super Cub was nose into the river. And so they had this list of supplies. He needed some chest waders. They wanted some food. They wanted some rebar. They needed some come-alongs. It's like, oh, that's all well and good. How are we going to get them to him? And so Daniel was flying for LAB Airlines at the time. So we took one of the LAB planes. I'm in the back seat. And so we get over them and open the door on the plane. And I'm chucking this stuff out the door on this like bombing run. And I didn't think, we had it tied up. I was just trying to get the stuff to him. I wasn't thinking velocity and everything like that. When that group of rebar, because they wanted like a couple foot chunks, when that hit down, that stuff was bouncing everywhere. All of them got back. You couldn't have tied that up any better. That was like we had a bunch of missiles coming at us with that rebar. Of course, the cookies and everything that was in the soft cooler, those were all trash by the time they got it there. But we tried.
Well,
But I still remember, and then, so the worst part about that is we made one last run to do the chest waders, and I had them all tied up with the feet and everything. First pair went out great. Second where I shove them out, and Daniel's like, what the heck did you do? I said, I just threw them out there. And as soon as they got out, they opened up, and they got stuck on the tail behind us. And so it was on there, and so the plane's going like this. And Daniel's it was about a mile down the river before, as he pulled up, they finally came off of the tail. They're probably stuck in some tree out there somewhere. I don't know if somebody came along and was like, what the heck are these chest waders doing up in this tree? But I thought I crashed the plane by...
Yeah. Well, I had both of my hips done years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this glucosamine conjointant. It's liquid form. And I was at moose camp, and I had forgotten it, and it really helped. So I called we had always had our VHF radio up there, and I called and told the wife, and I said, get Ron to get that, you give him that glucosamine and have him drop it off. So we're over on the second lookout, and here comes Martin and gosh darn it, I'm trying to think the kid's name. It was with him a lot.
That Jesse?
Jesse, yeah. And they come over us, and we're on the second lookout, and he comes over, and here comes, they had it wrapped in some sponge.
Yeah.
And here they come and dropped it off. It hit about 10 feet from where we
Where you
were
guys
sitting. Yeah, yeah. Lots. I had so many good times with that guy. Snowmobile racing against him and with him, and yeah. A lot of years. 59 years.
59 years.
Yeah.
It's a long friendship.
Yeah. You know, right before a couple of weeks before he drowned, we were talking, and we, you know, we've known all these old guys around this part of the country so many years. And Martin, he said, geez, you know, all these guys dying. He said, you know, Hess, you and I are at the top of the totem pole. So when he died, I told Mom, I said, yeah, that's just like him. Go in, leave me at the top of the totem pole.
Left you all by yourself at the top of the totem pole. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking back on your years in Alaska, what was the part that you enjoyed the most? What was it? Was there a time frame there, whether it's being out in the woods logging or just sharing it with other people? What brought you the most satisfaction, do you think?
I think I still have it.
Still have it?
I still have it.
Yeah.
I love, like this town, I love this area. I mean, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. You know, I drove on the North Slope, the ice road. Mm-hmm. I worked on the North Slope. I've been up north. This right here is my special place.
So just being here, it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're in Haines,
as long as I'm here.
It's
yeah.
a good place.
Yeah.
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 So somebody coming here for the first time, what would you tell them to expect, if whether both as a tourist or if somebody wants to move to Haines? What's your advice to them?
Be ready for everything. You know, you come up here, you see it. People move up here, they spend the winter, they're gone south. They don't like it. And that's the thing, you got to be prepared to do what you got to do to live.
And I think the other thing too, Duck, is adaptability, because I listened to your story and I was around for a lot of it. You know, I've known you my whole life.
Yeah.
You've been here the whole time. I went to school with your kids and everything, played with them when we were younger. So I know you really well over the years, but you look at the things that you've done and the way that you've adapted, whether you came up here as logger, you went into owning a bar, or you develop a tour, and you know the way that evolved over the years, and now doing the tour you're doing now. I think finding something you're passionate about, but adapting to things change.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm just me.
Well, I know. Yeah, and most people are that way. It's like, I'm just doing what comes natural to me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. But I think if you're going to be in Haines long term, you have to have that ability to change as things change around you.
Yeah, you know, because I have done a lot of different things, but the tourism thing has been, that's really close to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think we'll get back to having the 5 ships a week? Do you think there's a chance of that?
You know, it's hard because there's so many people here that they've got it made, so to speak. They live here, and I'm not going to say how or why, but they don't want it, you know. And I don't want it like Skagway.
Do you think if there was a way that, I'm not sure how, but if people knew that there's only going to be one large ship docked at a time, do you think that if there was certainty of that people might be more willing to have more ships?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really would. Because it's, you got to have an economy, you know, you got to have that. Look at this town, the size of it now, to when I was a young man and came here. We had the tank farm, we had the new mill being built, we had Snobble up on the Kelsaw Road portable mill, then he built the big mill, and we had the cannery, We had longshore and fishermen in the winter, because longshore, when the ships come in, and businesses stayed, open all winter. But now, you're lucky to find a place to eat, you know? Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know.
That's interesting to see the dynamics, and it's looking at it too. I try to look for what we can do in the future, because I think you made the great move, because as we've seen, there's no logging around here anymore.
Yeah.
So anybody that wanted to make a living logging was going to have to go somewhere else.
Yep.
And just kind of evolving and adapting as we move forward, but looking 5-10 years from now, what can we make happen that allows us to have a more, so we can pay our teachers more, we can have more stability in some of our government positions, and have more resources for our kids so they're better prepared for life. And
there's so many young people that have to work out of town. And I've done it. I've worked at logging camps when Karen and I were first back up here a little bit, but I worked on the North Slope, and I had to do, you got to do what you got to do, But yeah, if we get a ship a day, just 5, that's all it would take. Instead of doing 20 people on your tour, you'd probably end up for the week with 100,
Well, looking at it too from just a business perspective, if you have a minimum of 4 days a week, you can run a restaurant. You can have a business, because if it's only once a week or every other week for a large ship, it's hard to develop a new tour or develop a business if you're not, if you can't give somebody 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
4 days, you can have them 4 10-hour days, and they can actually make something work.
Yeah.
And in the back of your head, besides what you're doing now, do you have, it wouldn't surprise me if you had other ideas that you knew would make a good tour in Haines. If there was going to be if there's 4 to 5 days a week with ships coming into the dock, I'm guessing you don't have to tell us. You can just, I think by the look in your face, you have other ideas, don't you?
Well, I've got a wife that I don't call the little general for nothing. Because she has squelched me for many tours. But yeah, I do have some really good ideas if we did have, more
ships coming in.
Yeah. There's a lot here for people.
I think there's a ton of potential. It's just how do we tap into it?
It's totally different in Skagway. Skagway, you're compacted down to that little valley.
Yep.
Don't have a lot of roads to get out and go. We're here. Like I tell the folks, I said, okay, we got over on this side of the mountains, the Tuxinox. We got Lutak Inlet and Chilkat Lake. Over on this side of the Tuxinox, we got the Chilkat River. We've got the highway out. We've got the peninsula. You can go down the peninsula, the cannery, the park down there. It's got more than Skagway.
Yep.
And Skagway has done well. They've advertised the train, the gold rush, and yeah.
So one last question before we end up here. How'd you get the name Duck?
I get that asked almost every tour.
I bet. And I've always wondered, this is the first time I'm asking you this. I have never heard how you got that name.
Okay, I am the youngest of 4 boys.
Yeah.
And my oldest brother, who I lost a year ago, June, 9 years older than me. So when I was little and learning to walk, he would sing a ditty. Wee Ducky Donald, he walks with the waddle. That's how I got it.
That's how you got it. So you've had it your whole life.
My whole life.
Been Duck.
Yeah. I signed my school papers, Duck.
Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I learned something new in this interview.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
More than that, but
Yeah.
no, now I know where duck came from,
Yeah.
and I can tell people.
Well, when I wrote the story about the bear attack on Dad,
Yep.
well, the bear got him at 65. I wrote the story in the Alaska magazine, the Old Alaska Sportsman, and I signed my pen name, Don. And people in Haines were, do you have another brother named Don?
We haven't met that brother.
Oh, God.
You said you really enjoy doing the tourism to the tourists. First of all, why do you like the tourists? And secondly, can you tell us a funny story about what these people sometimes get up to?
Well, to see their face, and it don't take showing them a bear or a moose. It's what God gave us, and that's a beautiful area. I had a lady here a few weeks ago. She wanted to just see the mountains. And it was like this, only worse. So I ended up driving her clear up to 18 miles before she could look across the Chilkat Lake and the mountains and see them. She got tears in her eyes. It was so beautiful. And I've seen that with people that it's not all of them. Some of them can be terrible. You know, if you don't show them 5 moose, well, gee whiz, I got cheated on the tour. But most of the time, they're so receptive to it, and they appreciate that you've taken them out and shown them what we're blessed to be able to see all the time. Yeah.
It is fun when you see when you have people with you that
Yeah.
truly enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Just whatever they're seeing.
Yeah. And when they go, oh, thank you so much, you know, it means a lot. But when they go, yeah, you get that too, you know, it doesn't matter what you show them. Yeah.
So other than your boat that got stuck and you had to ship people out and cost you a bunch of money, are there any other fun stories that have happened on the river while you're taking people out there, that something unique that wasn't just your everyday?
Yeah, I had a guy that went down the wrong channel. He got hung up. Took me about 2.5 hours to get him back to where I could get him in enough water, and he could get up. They were late. You know, the ship was here, thank the Lord. But yeah, and then had another captain. He just could not read the water. He got hung up for 1.5 hours. Can you imagine that? Till I could get up, because I was on a tour. I had to finish the tour and get my people back. Then I had to grab the workboat and go up and get him off the sandbar.
Have you ever had any tourists that you're on the river and they're like, hey, we need to go back now, that they didn't want to finish? Or
No.
Okay.
No. You know, I tried tops, plastic tops.
Yeah.
And this is another great little story. This older lady was in the front row and went up the river, and it started raining. And I nudged up on a sandbar and I said, now folks, I've got a top. We can unroll this top and you won't be getting wet. And a couple of guys, they started to turn around and say something. And this little lady, older lady, stood up in the front, arms like this. I come to have an adventure, and I don't want a top. These guys sit back down.
They're probably ready to help you start unrolling it,
yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
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 So any other stories?
Oh, God.
I know you have a bunch. I just want to know how many of them you want to share
Well,
with us.
like I used to say about Martin,
Yep.
there's some stories I can tell, and there's some I can't.
Understood. Understood. I have some of those same stories. They're different stories, but I also have a couple stories of Martin
Yeah.
that I cannot tell. Yep.
Yeah.
But I remember them well.
Yeah. Well, we went filming sheep. Mm-hmm. This is my first wife. And we went up in the Yukon, and we went up on the mountain there on this end of Klawani Lake. And we didn't even know what time it was. We neither one had a watch. And went up, filmed sheep, got some great film. Come back down, found out it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We slept and sleep by
At the border?
No, by his car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, another time we raced a Mountie. Martin had this GTO. Had 4-speed, had a big engine, big carburetor. We were pioneers. Sonny Albecker was in there, and there was RCMP in there. And the guy had a Ford Mustang. And it was, okay, yeah, we'll go out at 2 miles, we'll drag. And Martin said, Hess, you drive. He said, because you've drove races before, driving races. And, okay. So we're ahead of him. We get right out by Foreski, which you wasn't there then.
Yep.
And this Mountie passes us. And Sonny Albecker was with him. And it's like, oh, that's crack. And I drop it down and wham, and we come out. We get out on the straightaway, and I'm trying to catch this guy, and I can't catch him. And they come to the end of the straightaway. Off they go. Dust flies, and if you probably don't remember, there was a road there, and it had 2 big beams and a cable.
At the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
And that guy, that Mountie, took that cable with his
The
front end.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus, we thought, because all we saw was this dust and steam. We come pulling up there, getting out, and Sonny Albecker, he says, well, we're here. Yeah. I could tell stories. We'd be here all night. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing the ones that you did, Duck.
Oh God,
It's
yeah.
been a pleasure
you've been
talking to
me
you.
about this. And that's, yeah.
No, and I wish I'd come up with this idea while Ron was still here, because I'd love to get his people that haven't heard Ron tell a story are missing out.
Yeah.
Because he was a great. Not only did he have a lot of stories, he was great at telling the stories. As
Oh
well.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I hope to get more people like you on here to tell their stories about Haines, because guys like you that I grew up around and everything, I've seen the impact you've had on the community, but also on me as an individual as well.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you sharing your stories with me today.
Well, I can remember Sam when he was a little kid too.
We don't need those stories.
Yeah.
So, and one other thing I'd like to get in is I just want to thank Lee and Darcy Robinson for letting us use the Rusty Compass here for our interview spot. And it's a great place if you want to get some breakfast, lunch, cup of coffee. Great people. Stop by and say hi to them if you're in Haines. And also if you're coming to Haines, you want a great tour, Duck Dynasty.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks, Duck. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Still got a good handshake.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I was talking about you.
Oh, geez. I was thinking yours was better. Thank you for listening or watching to this episode of Doug Has Questions. Just a reminder, if you could help us spread the word,
Like, share with your friends, subscribe, leave us comments. And if you have any ideas on sponsorship or ways that you'd like to support it beyond those options, please reach out to Douglas at DougHessQuestions.com. And thanks again for listening. Take care.